While we were driving up here, even after the two people were already rescued from the plane, it still looked terrifying. Seeing that plane stuck inside that tower, just wondering how scary it must have been for the two people who were stuck inside there for hours. Right now, out here, though, you do see that plane is on the ground, but look at that damage to the front of the plane. I mean, it looks like a crush can, all of that metal, and then you can see the wing, one of the wings right next to it. It is barely hanging on. And this was stuck 100 feet above. Looking just to the left of it, you're also seeing a black device. That is the engine that also came down about 20 minutes afterwards. And then around it, you're seeing some metal, a coil, a few other pieces, and that's all from the tower that was lowered down shortly after the plane. I do want to mention, though, to give you an idea of just how high up they were, our camera slowly panning up. We did see crews working around that area as well, going up, coming back down, trying to repair this tower. And then if you go to the left of it, you're going to see another tower and also a number of dangling power lines. And so even though the two people have been rescued, the plane is no longer stuck in the tower. The crews are still working very hard out here to repair both that tower as well as the power lines. Now, officials say crews got here about 5:30 yesterday afternoon after reports of a plane crashing into a power line. The plane, which was dangling again 100 feet in the air, already made things difficult. Then add on those foggy conditions. Maryland State Police telling us the pilot is 65-year-old Patrick Merkel from D.C. The passenger, 66-year-old Jan Williams from Louisiana. First responders say they kept in constant contact with them through dispatch at first, then later with phone calls every 30 minutes to conserve battery as they spoke with crews on the ground. Now, around midnight, those crews were able to secure the plane with both patients taken to the hospital with serious injuries shortly after 12:30. There was quite a crowd here and many cheered as the pilot and passenger were rescued.
I kept praying. I've been praying for hours just because I wanted to see them come out alive. That was my only hope. And I was kind of hopeful seeing everybody, and, it was a great moment.
About 2.5 hours later after that rescue, those foggy conditions did clear up. And so just before 3 o'clock this morning, these crews, they were able to bring the plane down, untangling that engine from the power line shortly after. Maryland State Police, the FAA, and NTSB, they are all investigating. And for a while, about 120,000 people living in the area, they did not have power.
That's what everyone tells me. They're like, you have to go, and it's been closed for a while, but back open today. Right now, I am in the One World Connected exhibit, and this is really about how communication satellites have really changed the world, really changed the way technology has helped us all be able to communicate better with each other. You may remember, well, I don't, but back in the 1960s, long distance communication was really tough. Then came those communication satellites that really made things a lot more reliable and easier for all of us to communicate. There are so many really cool interactive pieces of this exhibit, so come with me because I want to show you one of them right here, right now. This one is called Our Connected Planet. Look at that. It talks about aerospace technologies that connect us, and what I really love is there are a bunch of ways to really see how it's able to connect us. So let's start with navigating. A lot of us know what it's like to fly on a plane, and if you look up, it starts to show all the commercial airline flight paths. That's what you're seeing in the blue. Pretty cool, right? And of course, we want to show you other parts of this new museum too. So let me show you some other parts. Take a look at the Exploring the Planets gallery. It is a reimagined way of looking at our solar system to understand Earth and really all the worlds beyond. Instead of just getting a conventional tour that begins with the sun, then moves out, the space history curator for this exhibit tells me we're getting a look at the solar system by getting a look from the outside in.
Each of those surfaces is based on real data that planetary scientists have collected with spacecraft, and also the Apollo program. When we had astronauts on the moon, we show some of those landing sites as well. So, I think that's a very exciting and interactive part of this gallery.
Technology has advanced at a rapid pace, so let's get you back on Earth. You can also check out this drone area for a look at how aviation has changed over the years. Drones becoming even more available, even offering delivery services. Now back out here live, I do want to mention that there are some other things that you can check out. For example, wildlife. Did you know that that technology allows us to also see all the movement of animals too? This is another example. All the green spots that you're seeing there, that is actually tracking wildlife, and you're able to see the different types of animals too, like fruit bats, that's one of them, reindeer, that's one that you're seeing up there right now as well. And so there are so many cool things to look at. Also, there's a 360 room that actually lets you feel like you're standing on a planet. Pretty cool, right?
We've been talking to a number of witnesses, a lot of them saying that they could feel the ground vibrating. They could hear the explosion. One witness even telling me that she felt like it sounded like a bomb. And so right behind me, we again are seeing that technical rescue team here. We've been seeing them going inside some of these units. We are also seeing the ladder go up. Again, right now, no firefighters in it, but it has been a very active scene for hours, and we're actually expecting it to stay active for days. That is what the fire chief is telling us, that this is a multi-day event. 4 buildings impacted, all of them evacuated, 2 of them getting a lot of damage as well. And right now next to me is Michelle Conklin-Cassell. Michelle, you mentioned that you are in one of the buildings, you had to evacuate, and you could feel it, and you were the ones who told me that it sounded like a bomb.
Yes, I was in my bedroom, and I was kind of in that half awake, half asleep state, and all of a sudden I felt this, it felt like a shock wave, and I heard this massive explosion, and it felt like you hear about these descriptions of, you know, when a bomb strikes and how there's like waves, and that's how it felt. And you know, at first I thought, okay, am I dreaming or am I waking up? And I said, no, this can't be. I'm not that good at dreaming. So I ran to my window and I looked and I saw all this debris on the ground that was on fire. And because I'm at an angle for the building where the explosion came from, I could see that there was a fire. And so I immediately called 911 and got, you know, my clothes on so I'd be warm enough to be outside. And it took a long time to get through 911. They said, we already know, we're already on it. And it was just a shock. You didn't just hear it, you felt it. It was crazy.
We do want to show you some cell phone video that we got from another witness, and that shows exactly what you've been describing, the fire. And you had mentioned you saw that fire trying to jump to your unit as well.
Yeah, after a little while of being outside, once we were told we had to evacuate, I was watching the fire as close as I could, and I saw the fire on the roof of the building where the explosion initiated, and I saw this fire creeping closer and closer on the roof line.
It has really been horror story after horror story. I spoke with a woman who says she's stranded trying to get to her mom's funeral. Over the last 30 minutes or so, we started to really see this line pick up. I'm being told by one of the travelers that this line has to do with a lot of people actually trying to head to Orlando this morning that just found out their flight also got canceled. And so that's why this baggage claim area, this is why you were starting to see bags here. These are bags, according to some travelers telling me, these are bags that were checked about 30 minutes ago, returning 2 people, including Kwame Best. You were supposed to leave this morning to Orlando. What happened?
Well, I was just sitting waiting for the flight to board, and then I checked my phone, canceled. 5 minutes later, canceled. Just sitting, everybody was waiting in line to board, just canceled. We had to return to the ticket counter to get rebooked. Now we can't get rebooked to at least the 31st of December.
What does that mean for you? Are you stranded here? Are you trying to get home? Are you from here?
I'm trying to get home, back home. I live in Orlando, and I'm trying to get back home. Actually have to work today, but now I can't work because of this.
And so what is your plan of moving forward if you can't get rebooked until the 31st?
My plan is going to get a rental car and drive 12 hours. That's my plan right now. I know tickets are very, very expensive now.
Have you reached out to your job yet? I know it's early.
I have not yet, but I'm going to. Yes.
Good luck, Kwame. Thank you so much for speaking with us. Now, this is just one of, again, dozens of stories that we're really hearing from people. Kwame mentioning he wanted to get a rental car. We were hearing from people who said they waited in line for a rental car for more than 6 hours and then had to drive even longer to get to their final destination. Good morning. Right now, I am standing in front of Penelope. Look at her. She's such a beauty. And this is from the Bivens family. They actually own Penelope. And she's also going to be helping me out today because, believe it or not, I'm going to learn how to milk a cow. So Brett right here, he's going to teach me while I kind of just squat down next to him. Tell us what's the technique. Let's do this.
Okay, so when you're starting out, really what you do is you crimp the top of the teat and then you work your way down. So you'll start up top and then you'll kind of just squeeze your fingers down. And you can see the milk just comes straight out. Motion at the same time.
Okay, so full hand. Sorry, Penelope. Okay. Okay, that wasn't a good one. I'm gonna do it. I did it! Okay, tell us a little bit about Penelope.
So Penelope, she is average dairy cow. She weighs around 1,400 pounds. And she was born July 18th of 2018. So she's, what, 4 years old, 3 years old now. She has gone to 5 different shows. And usually she stays at the Brandenburgs up in Jefferson, Maryland. So.
Why is it important for your family to really be a part of kind of this process?
So what was really funny is this was never anything I ever gotten into before. And then I started getting into dairy showing because I met somebody who had dairy cows. And as soon as I did that, it really piqued my interest in agriculture because I had no interest before. And it's just something that I'd like to go into in future for colleges, like something that has to do with 4-H, like Maryland University. They've got FFA and 4-H in their colleges, so that's something I'd just kind of like to go into.
Great. Well, thank you for showing us Penelope this morning. Of course, so much about the fair. It's not just about the food, also about all the agriculture, getting to know the animals. And we're going to have more live shots coming up. For now, live at the Montgomery County Fair. Goodbye, Penelope. Joy Wang, 7 News.